Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 366. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What is going on, good sir?
I am not the important one today. Today is your day. Today it is your day. We are recording on your actual birthday, which I think is the first time we've ever done that. So happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I think it is. I was trying to think back. I think it really is probably the first time.
Yeah.
It's not I feel like it's not too often. I'm sure there's some sort of
Well, no, it happens every year. Birthdays happen every year.
That's true, but meaning where it lands on a Saturday.
Yes.
Because we usually record on a Saturday. I'm sure there's some sort of mathematical thing or statistic that says how often a date falls on a day. I don't know that. But yes, thank you very much. 44 is well, it's actually starting off pretty good. I kind of getting into 44 pretty good. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. I have no high hopes, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll give you the best wish I can give you. I hope your 44 was nothing like my 44.
What?
Because my 44 did not start well.
What? Well, if it's not, as long as it's nothing like my 40th.
My 44 ended very well though. So
my 40th was terrible. That's also because the world shut down. But in any event,
that is very true. Well, and you're also at that one, one of those special birthdays where backwards you are the same age.
Oh yes, a palindrome, I believe.
Yes,
sure. Why not? No, thank you very much though. Got a good weekend happen. I'm actually, as you can see, I'm not home. I'm actually at my parents' house. So we're gonna have a good birthday weekend. Of course, it's next weekend. That's the big party one, but we'll get into that another time. Yeah, I think we'll kind of start this off because I've had this for the last couple of days and it's really bugging me as to what's inside of it. So,
who's it from?
It's from somebody. It's from the U.S. Postal Service.
Well, yeah, they usually. Oh, so Frank sent you something?
If only he has not.
No.
So,
well, a very happy birthday to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Now I finally got your address. Thank you. You never gave it to me before.
What are you talking about? I always send you my address. I think every year I just send like an email blast of like, hey, guess what? I moved again.
No, we email you going, look, are you in the same spot still? What's going on?
Like, oh no, I still have people telling me, oh, so how was the move to Brooklyn? I'm like, oh, I hate to break it to you.
Right state, wrong town.
Yep, exactly.
So, all right, so let's see what's in here.
Open your little birthday gift.
I've been shaking it violently for the last couple of days. Should I have been doing it?
Yes, it's not a broken virtual boy.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah, that'll never.
That was still the best birthday gift
go away.
Ever.
No, please. I still have it.
I know you do. And one day we're gonna put that in a little museum. We'll pour it into a picture frame.
I know. I really want to. Like, real fast. Game On has a really cool. They took one of those, like those clear blocks that you usually see people make walls out of. They're like, they're not fully see through, but they're clear. And he put some dirt into it, and he put an ET cart in it.
Nice.
It filled it up a little bit more, and I've always loved that. And trust me, I kind of want to do that with the Virtual Boy. Somehow just throw it in and let it go.
I think that would be awesome.
Now, my history with your birthday cards, should this be first or last?
First.
Okay.
You do that first.
Are there any hints?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't have the luxury of finding the perfect birthday card this time.
This is actually really cool. I like this. Holy cow. Just in case your birthday celebration gets out of hand. That is actually really, really funny. Look at that. That is a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Right.
And I somehow I thought that you might need that.
No, I love this. This is a really cool card. I've never seen this before. This is awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. He's also not wearing pants.
No, you know what? You're right. That is very weird. Yeah. Well, okay.
That's how Monopoly Man went to jail. Aside from all the extortion and larceny and all the other.
When you're that old and that rich, you can do whatever you want.
That's very true.
Okay. Oh, okay. You told me about this a couple weeks ago.
Well, that I didn't wrap. That I picked up for you from Singapore.
It includes all the DLC.
It does. So if you install it on your computer, I don't know if it's Mac friendly. I didn't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I just bought it for your collection.
That works for me. I mean, I probably have it in a different version anyway, but this is
Of
cool to have
course.
on a. I don't think I have any really PC
I'm
games.
trying to remember if that's one of the ones I worked on.
I was trying to think about that the other day, but I
Yeah.
feel like it might have.
I
I don't
think
know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Shield Rollins. That was shortly, maybe. I don't know.
It might have been the year after.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, all right, now we're going to the meat and potato.
The actual gift, which I did not get birthday wrapping paper for.
I didn't even look at it. It's Christmas.
It's
I didn't even
Christmas
notice
paper.
it's Christmas
I
paper.
literally looked at my house and I'm like, what wrapping paper do I have? I'm like, well, snowman it is.
That goes to show how I am when coming to gifts. Just rip it open.
Yeah, like a child.
This is absolutely awesome. Super Mario World, Super Famicom in
That's right.
box. Look at that.
Yes.
I definitely don't have that.
Yep. The benefits to my worldwide travel again.
No, absolutely. Trust me, I'll be. I totally forgot they did that.
Oh, you totally forgot to drop the gift.
Yeah, I broke it now. No.
Oh, nice.
Super Mario Brothers 4, Super
Yes.
Mario World.
Correct.
I don't know why they didn't do that here. This is really cool. I like this. I think one, two, three. This might be my fourth now boxed Super Famicom game, and this one I'm keeping in the wrap.
Right.
So
Well, I think I'm trying to continue your collection of all the Mario games in box because I think the first three I got you on Famicom in box, if I'm not mistaken.
1, 3. I don't know
In
about
USA.
no. I don't think you got me USA, but I don't think I got it. I don't think you got it for me in box.
Oh, I thought I got it for you in
Not to
box.
ruin the thing there, but I
Well,
still
that's
love
okay.
it. Yeah.
That's okay.
Thank you.
That's all you needed to point out.
No, this is awesome. Thank you very much. And it's a classic.
You're welcome.
So obviously it's a much needed. So that is very cool.
Enjoy.
And that will be absolutely prominently displayed as well when I get home.
Of course.
That is cool. All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
So and with that, I think we'll move on. I got a lot more celebrating to do, but I'll do all that later.
We'll do all that later,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. So in my such a weird topic to talk about if we're celebrating stuff.
Yes.
But we're gonna talk about it right now. Anthony mentioned it last week, and it was a pretty interesting topic. And when I was thinking about it all week, like some games came flooding back, some I had to really think about to remember. But we're gonna talk about games that we just wish weren't made, games that we just weren't crazy about, and like, why did they even produce this?
Correct. And I thought actually, what's funny? I thought it was kind of fitting that it was your that it's your birthday week that we are talking about this, only because especially when we were younger and we didn't have the internet at our fingertips or anything like that. Our video game wants were based off of like any pre-existing knowledge we had of the product or the images we saw on the box or what we read in like a Sears catalog or whatever it was. So we would generally get them as gifts, and then it was like kind of like a hit or miss type of thing. So sometimes you get a game and you're like, oh my God, this is the best game ever. And then you get another game and you're like, what is this crap? I was like, this? I waited a whole year for my birthday for this.
What did they do, Ray?
Yeah, right. Worst birthday gift ever.
Just throw it out. I don't like this gift. I did that once and only once. And then I was taught a valuable lesson.
Very nice.
All right, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna, as usual, when we do these things, we'll just go back and forth on it. We just to tell you some of the parameters we tried to do. Definitely games that we've played, games that we've experienced ourselves.
Yes.
So not just random games that we know are bad out there. Definitely tried to. We both tried to pick some games from different systems.
Yes.
I think maybe just one, maybe two games on like two systems with multiple games, but we'll talk about that. But nevertheless, and again, these are games that just we weren't crazy about. We might each other like the other game, if you will, but
true.
We didn't get right. And I have one game that I had to pick that just over any and every version of the game should just be destroyed at every moment. So I'll get into that last.
Well, I already destroyed one of them. It was your birthday gift a few years ago. Oh wait, that's a console. Never mind.
That's a system. That don't count. And then finally, I think the last bit is we tried to not make it like obvious. Like Tears of the Kingdom is not on my list. Neither is
No,
Breath of the
nor
Wild.
I mean, nor should they be, because they're award-winning games.
Terrible games.
They are award-winning games for their amazingness.
Well, I'll let you go first then.
All right. Well, I guess, should I go oldest or newest? Because I have them in order, because that's the way I do it.
Mine's already mixed up, so you can
Yeah.
do however you
Well,
want.
I want to go. I'll go with a couple of. I'll go with like just obvious ones, because we can just talk about them
Okay.
for 5 seconds and throw them away. But Atari 2600.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because yeah, like I'm going all the way back. Like that was the first console I ever had, so it
Mhm.
just only made sense to me to go all the way back to it. And I'm just gonna throw it out there as two quick obvious ones, and we're talking Pac-Man and ET. Two absolutely deplorable games. Obviously, like two of the main games responsible for the video game crash of the 80s.
Oh yeah.
And everybody at this point, like if you don't know why, it's very easy to look it up.
Very
But
true.
but I remember getting I just really briefly, like I remember getting ET more than I do Pac-Man. But
Yeah, me too, actually.
I remember getting ET and being very excited about it because I got it for Christmas.
Mhm.
It was released in December for Christmas, so my parents did get it for me for Christmas, and I was really excited about it. And then lo and behold, I sat there and I had no idea what to do with
Well,
this game.
little did you know that the guy just started. The game was just started in creation. What, like 7 weeks earlier, 8 weeks
Yep.
earlier?
Yeah, something like 2 months prior, and then it
Yeah.
just went straight to production.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a game that takes all of 30 seconds to beat. However, as a what was I, five or six
Mm.
when I got it, as a very young child, I would play that game for like an hour and have no idea what to do.
I honestly thought, and this is God honest truth, I thought the idea was you fell into the pit and you just had to keep lifting yourself out of the pit.
Yes,
That was the only thing I knew how to
yeah.
do.
No, that's what I did too. And I didn't understand, like, that there was a thing that was telling you which pit to fall into so you can get the
Yes.
phone piece and stuff. And then, the guy in the coat would come and I'm like, oh, I go, is that Elliot? Is that my dad? Who is this? No, he's taking me to a jail that I can just walk out of.
Yeah,
So,
basically.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, because he flew in the movie.
Or not a jail, but whatever it was supposed to be, So anyway,
All right.
the two obvious ones, but just ones to throw out there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So I didn't go back that far because I kind of gave the 26. I gave Atari a pass. I gave almost
No
everything
passes.
prior to the NES a pass because when you look back on it, you're like, all right, that was pretty interesting. They tried.
Really?
But from
Not
the
even
NES,
not even Burger Time?
well, don't again. I tried to not make things too obvious on my end.
Yeah, it's
So because there are a lineage of games, and at that point I can discuss.
true.
But I tried to go a little obscure actually with mine, and maybe even a couple, which I'm going to list off here from IPs and genres that I love, absolutely love. So on the NES, I actually have 3 games on the NES.
Oh, so do I.
So the first one is Contra Force.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Contra Force. It was the last Contra game to be released on the NES, and a game that should have never been released, or at least not been called Contra. They tried to make it kind of like almost like a cutesy, not cutesy, that's a wrong word, but it didn't look like regular Contra. If I remember correctly, and don't quote me on this, but I think it started as a different type of game, then they just slapped Contra on it to get sales. But it seemed a little, when I played it and I rented it, never owned it, but I did rent it a few times. I'm like, this can't be as bad as I remember. Let me try this again. But it just kind of was a little clunky. It was slow, and it just didn't have that Contra feel that we were used to during that time frame, like in the early 90s, mid 90s. So I was like, that one I wish I never played. Do you want me to go through the other 2 and then you do your NES games, or?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
The other one, an amazing movie franchise, but Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. To be fair, I've only seen Part 3 in videos, so I can't really tell you if it actually exists because I've never gotten past Part 2.
I was gonna say, I thought part 3 was on the next gen system. It was on Genesis.
No.
And
Remember,
SNES, right?
No, it was
was this the one that was the one cartridge?
Yeah, it was one cartridge,
Yes.
Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, but like Part 3 was almost like the next, like a second level. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It wasn't like you were able to pick between the two games.
Yes.
You had to get through two, and Back to the Future 2 just made no sense whatsoever. There was Spike Koopas in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about. So, meh.
Well, remember the guy in Back to the Future 2 who had the helmet
That's
like that?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
You're right. Maybe that was
That would
terrible
be why.
throwback. And then
Not to defend that game.
no, 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 no.
I thought you were gonna mention the first Back to the Future game.
You know what? I was thinking about it, but for me, and you know me, sometimes a game can be so bad that it
Yeah.
is good and fun. And to me, the first Back to the Future is so bad that it comes around to become good again. So,
Okay.
and I can play that. Back to 2 and 3, I just can't play. So
Right. Got it.
it's just terrible.
Okay.
And then finally, and this one hurts me because of the week that we're coming into, WrestleMania Challenge,
Ooh,
the second
the
WWE game,
the diamond the
yes,
diamond ring,
I
I
forgot they
used
call
to
it
call it.
isotropic or something. No, that's not it. I forgot what they call
Isometric?
it. Isometric, yeah. Where, yeah, you're right. The ring, well, and trust me, at least we got a full view of the ring, unlike the first WrestleMania game,
Mm-hmm.
which was just very weird and the ropes were open.
Yep.
But yeah, you had that diagonal look to the game, and it just didn't play well. It looked worse than the first WrestleMania game, and that was tough. But at least you were able to kind of make out some of the characters and play
Yeah.
properly. I never enjoyed it. I remember actually playing. I think when we way back when, first started doing some gameplays online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of our live streams that we used to do. I did WrestleMania Challenge. I hated it then again. So, so
Wow.
those are 3 games I wish just didn't appear
All
on.
right. Well, WrestleMania Challenge, I remember when I was a kid, I enjoyed that one. I didn't, the diamond ring I didn't understand, but one of the main reasons why I think I really enjoyed it was because it was the first time they had a Survivor Series option
Okay.
in the game. And it was 3-on-3, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. But I thought that I thought it was a step up from WrestleMania, which, by the way, is the first game on my list for
Oh, the
NES
first one?
games. Oh, the first one was terrible. First one was terrible. You know, six guys to choose from. You know, again, you're missing the ropes on one side. You're basically just punching and kicking your way to win. And then you had those weird, and then you had the power-ups that were bouncing through the ring.
Yes.
Remember? I mainly remember there was Andre the Giant had a foot, and the honky tonk man had a
Had a
music note.
guitar. Yep.
Was it guitar
I think
or
it was
a music note?
It might have been a guitar.
Okay, I thought it was a music note. But anyway, yeah, and those like gave you power-ups, but like to me, that game was just trash. All right, so the second game on the NES that I put on my list is one infamously made by your friend and mine, LJN.
Oh. Oof.
Yeah, I
Rough.
know. You can pick like almost anything from LJN.
They made great wrestling toys, terrible video games.
Terrible video games, absolutely terrible. And the one that I remember the most, truly like was heartbreaking to me as a fun-loving comic book reader, and avid comic book fan as a kid. But it was the X-Men game on the NES.
Really?
Obviously.
Oh, I know which one.
Yeah. So when they announced they were making a game, it was the first X-Men game on the Nintendo. I was obviously super excited as a kid because I was reading the comics and I loved all the characters, and I'm like, oh, cool, X-Men. And then got the game and just absolute trash, because it was like this overhead.
It was a
view.
top down, yeah.
Yeah, it was a top down view of the board, and your character was like this little itty bitty thing, and you had you had 6 different characters I think to choose from, and you had your powers, but the levels were so poorly designed. Like if you think like a game like if you think of a game like Akari Warriors or Commando or something, where you're moving along the board slowly and everything. This one, it was just designed to be impossible to get through a board. So then that you just like you either died constantly or got through the board like really, really quickly if you got good enough at the game. But it's not the type of game where it's like you revel in getting good enough to beat the boards. It was just a slog through trash. So I can say with almost 100% assurance, I never got through the first board in that game.
Oh,
And I was always disappointed with how badly that game is. Now, granted, comic book games have come a long way.
yeah.
If you move on to especially in the X-Men realm. Because there were some really, really great games. Obviously the X-Men arcade game, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse on Super Nintendo, the 2 X-Men Legends games on
Oh, yes.
Xbox, and I think PS2. I think it like came on, and then obviously like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and stuff like that. Like the games definitely got better. But I just remember all the way back to when LJN like literally almost destroyed the X-Men franchise in one NES game. For me, Anthony, the little kid. And then the last NES game I'm going to bring up, and this is maybe one of the bigger surprises on my list, or the biggest surprise on my list, because I thought about it for a while. And again, we're going for games that we wished we never played.
Yeah.
And this game left such a bad taste in my mouth as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten better over the years for me, but it's still one of the ones where I don't need to go back to it. And I'm actually talking about The Legend of Zelda 2: Adventures of Link.
I was going to put that on my list, but I felt like it was too obvious for me, at least. Because there's a few Zelda games I'm not crazy about, as you're fully aware.
Oh, yeah.
But like on top of that list is like Adventures of Link and Majora's Mask.
Yep.
Which is not my N64 pick, but because I didn't go with the Zelda ones. But I just not crazy about.
Yeah.
I tried playing them again, but
no, and same with me. Like I felt like Zelda was trying to do a little bit of it was like a little bit of Final Fantasy mixed in with still like the original feel of the Zelda, but then they obviously they made the dungeons side scrolling and it was just, again, as a kid, that combination just was so jarringly different from the first game that it just didn't work for me. Because I was like, where is my where's my 3/4 view, like top-down view? Where are my dungeons the way that I remember them? And obviously games evolve, but when you're a kid, sometimes it's a little too much. And I thought Zelda 2 kind of jumped a little too far for me. So and even to this day, like I've gone back, I've played it, I've beaten it, and that's cool and all, but like for me, like it's just one of those games where I'm like I'm happier leaving it on the archive shelf.
Fair enough. All righty.
Over to you.
Yes, I'm going to move on now to the next generation, to the Super Nintendo. These now, with some of these systems, more kind of like one. Oh, you know what? I did have an older system. You know what? I'll come back to that next. So Super Nintendo. Yeah, there were a few games, but this one game, and I remember playing it so often because I wanted to enjoy this and I wanted to like this, but The Simpsons Bart's Nightmare on Super Nintendo.
I liked that game.
I couldn't. It was on Super Nintendo Genesis. I had it for Super Nintendo. And as much as I want to love it, and I love don't get me wrong, like I love the characters, the look of it is great. Bartzilla, you play with Itchy and Scratchy, Bartman, but I just couldn't. I so not enjoyed the gameplay that I couldn't get past all of that. And to this day, I've always kind of just regretted that one. And I know there might be, look, I know I'm not going Simpsons bowling or Simpsons wrestling, but just Bart's Nightmare just never sat well with me.
Oh man, Simpsons wrestling was ugly. But I was gonna say, like, that was one of the ones I remember. I'm actually looking to see if I still have it in my collection, because I might. But I do. I still have it.
There you go.
I still own it. I remember renting that from the video store a lot. Just because I enjoyed it. I did enjoy that one. But
Sure.
I can also understand why it wasn't appealing. And again, you were the bigger Simpsons fan
Oh
than I
my
was.
God, I was so into that. I mean, not
Yeah.
now. I mean, they've gone way too long. But back then, oh my God, yeah,
Hmm.
totally immersed into it. And again, I wanted to love it, but
Hmm.
I couldn't. And it just always put a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Was that your only Super
Yes,
Nintendo?
a lot of these are basically
Yeah.
just one-offs now.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Everything else I have are one-offs.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo for me, this one is maybe an obvious one for why it was bad, but I wanted to because it was the first one that popped in my head where I was like,
Mhm.
what's a bad game on the Super Nintendo? Mario is missing. Um, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
That game is just terrible. Look, I'll give it a caveat. Yes, it was an educational game. It was made to
Hmm.
be an educational game. However, just because it's an educational game doesn't mean that it shouldn't be fun. And that game, just walking through cities and going into buildings, and it's just nothing about that was fun.
Yeah, it was a
Again,
little weird.
as a kid, I want action, and especially when you're using a Mario character, first off, right in the title, Mario's not in the game.
That's true. Yeah, they
So
kind of put
right, so
it.
like,
Yeah.
and to me, it was and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but this is the first like Luigi driven game. Um,
Probably. Yeah.
unless I'm missing
Yeah.
something on like a Game Boy game or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no, no,
Like,
no. He wasn't even
like
on Game Boy, really.
right. So like, this was the first Luigi driven game, and
Hmm.
they're like, oh, let's do something fun with Luigi. Let's take away all the side scrolling adventure portion of it and throw him in a city looking for his brother. And I'm like, okay. So, but just again, it was one of those things where I remember renting it as a kid, and I'm like, "What is this?" I go, "This, I don't get it." And then once I understood what it was, I was like, "Ew!" It was like I'm already in school. I don't want to. I don't want to be in school in my video game. So that one fell completely flat for me. I
Okay.
just never wanted to go back to it.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah. So Mario's missing for the Super Nintendo.
All right. I am going to backtrack a little bit to a system that does.
Yep.
So I'm already throwing away my thing where I said I didn't do anything before the NES. The Commodore
Lies.
64.
Oh, what's funny? I almost went to the Commodore 64, but I stayed away from it because there's so many games on that
There's
thing.
a lot. There's
Yeah.
a lot, but one that I just regretted getting and well, probably got and tried playing, and I couldn't get Double Dare.
Oh, Double Dare.
I
Yeah.
couldn't, I could never, to this day, I still, when I go back and think about it, I didn't have any joysticks or anything for the Commodore 64. So it was all the keyboard. And I think you had to just do a combination of just slapping the keys real fast.
Yep.
I never cleared anything. I don't think I even got one flag in the obstacle course. I tried to avoid any and all physical challenges, much like I do in real life.
Mhm.
And I could not, it was so, again, so bad, so terrible. I know it came out on the NES. I
Double Dare.
own
Yeah.
yeah, I own a copy, but I never played it because of
Okay.
fear of having that flashback to the Commodore. Yeah,
PTSD.
totally. Going back to the Commodore 64. Actually, I only bought Double Dare to try and get autographed, but I
You
never ran
never
into
did.
Mark Summers.
Okay.
So yeah, Commodore 64 for me, for the games
All
that I
right.
owned, Double Dare. For my game show games on the Commodore 64, High Rollers 24/7.
High Rollers was the best game on the Commodore 64.
But Double
Absolutely loved
Dare,
High
no,
Rollers.
thank you.
Yeah, no, I gotta like not to throw another wrestling game at it, but Micro League Wrestling is the one that I remember the most
I
as
never
hate.
owned that one.
Absolutely
That's
hate.
the thing.
I owned it, and
Mhm.
man, it was just harsh because all you did there were two matches one on one side of the disc, one on the other,
Mhm.
and it was Hogan and Orndorff on one side, Hogan and Savage on the other,
Yep.
and this is like obviously pre WrestleMania 5, like this is
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
like mid 80s,
yeah.
um, and all it basically did was like you chose the move you wanted to do.
Mhm.
It gave you like options, like
Yeah,
press this, and then either you pulled the move off or the
yeah.
your opponent pulled their move off, and that's how and that's just all, and it did it, and it showed it like
Like a graphic, yeah,
it showed
yeah.
it in a graphic like from a live match, but severely pixelated,
Yep.
and just sepia toned. So it was literally flash, but not even animate. Like it didn't even like animate. It was like flashes
Mhm.
of images of the move happening.
Yeah.
It was just painful to watch.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So getting back to at the time, modern systems, I'm going to move on. I tried thinking through my handheld collection, like my
Oh,
Game
you didn't have
Boy.
anything for the
I,
Genesis or
I
anything?
I had a couple of games listed, but then when I thought about it, I'm like, I don't wish these were gone. Like all right, I'll throw it out. I was thinking Godzilla on Game Boy,
Okay.
which is a very weird game. I mean, Godzilla is just this tiny, almost a cute version of Godzilla. Almost looks like Godzuki,
Mhm.
his son. But and then you go around, you go up and down these vines, and you have this big literally when you go to punch someone, a fist appears the size of you.
Mm.
Very weird. It's a puzzler. But when I like
Oh,
go back and think about it, I'm like, it's still fun to play. I couldn't really think, and trust me, I know they're out there, and I'm probably forgetting because I am 44 now. But there's just I couldn't think of anything from like the handhelds. So I tried though. I tried.
okay.
But
That's all right.
I am gonna go to Genesis. And
There you go.
I actually have two games. One of which, though, I will full disclosure, it is the Genesis version, but I played it on a modern system recently.
Okay.
But the one I'm gonna go with first is a game that Sonic Spinball.
Oh,
So
I enjoyed Sonic Spinball.
here's the thing. It's an entry in the system because I feel like they could have done better with it. There was a ton of slowdown is what really ruined this game for me.
Mm,
I mean, it got super slow at points
okay.
that were almost ridiculous to play. The concept is really cool because I've played like on Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Pinball, Super Mario Pinball,
Hmm.
Metroid Pinball. Those are all fun games to play on the Game Boy Advance. But Sonic Spinball, and again, I've tried going back with the collections and everything, and that slowdown is kind of still there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Larry.
Oh, thank you very
Happy
much, Link.
birthday. Happy
Look at that.
birthday. Happy
He,
birthday. Happy birthday. Birthday dance.
what?
The birthday dance.
I don't know if he's falling asleep or getting ready. Oh, okay.
I have no idea. He's gonna throw up on me, is what he's gonna
Sam,
do.
Sammy ate and he's gone. He went to sleep. So,
Mm.
so Sonic Spinball, if I had to pick one, it's that. The other one though, and again, I didn't want to include this. I played it recently.
Hmm.
James Pond 2 RoboCod.
I've
So
never played that.
James
RoboCod.
James Pond, Pond,
Pond. Right.
2 RoboCod. It was obviously a take on James Bond and everything. And some of the games were fun to play, but this RoboCod, I can't get the controls down on it.
Oh.
Very weird, very wanky. But Sonic Spinball though, just yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. That's fair.
I try and go back to it, but not enough.
No, that's okay. I can understand the issue with it. I personally enjoyed it.
Okay.
For Genesis, for me, this is kind of actually a bit of a carryover for something you mentioned on the NES. But Genesis for me, the obvious one, and I owned this and regretted it, was Back to the Future Part 3.
Okay.
With the Genesis, and I'll tell you why. The game itself only had 4 levels.
Hmm.
It told the entire movie story in 4 levels. They made the game so incredibly hard.
Mm.
You couldn't like it was impossible to even get past the first level. I never got past the first level, which is basically Doc Brown on horseback trying to
Yes.
save Clara from going over the ravine.
Yep.
Never even got close to saving her. She went over every time. And I've to this day never seen the other 3 levels. I don't even care to look it up on YouTube. But from even what I read about the game, like the game is so incredibly short once you master the levels. They made the
Oh,
levels
is it?
super
I didn't
hard, but
realize that.
once you get through each level, it's an incredibly short game.
Hmm.
And then when you're done, it just restarts like an arcade
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I
in a way,
mean,
which
yeah, I get it. I get
which
it.
is silly for a Genesis game.
Hmm.
So definitely not, I remember owning it and I was like, okay, it was probably one of the first games I ever took to Funkoland and said, please take this off my hands. And they were
Okay.
probably like, sure, 3 cents.
Oh, sounds about right too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All
Back to the
right.
Future 3. Bad, bad, bad.
All right. Sticking with Sega, I'm going to move over to the Sega CD. And I did my
Take your pick.
I hear you. My collection wasn't large for Sega CD, even
Mhm.
at today's standards, it's not large.
Yeah.
But when I bought this game, I thought it was gonna be fun, but I don't know. I'm just the Amazing Spider-Man versus the Kingpin.
Oh, yeah, that you know what? It was clunky. That's why.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
and it's
clunky.
way better Spider-Man games on other systems.
Yes.
Um, and way worse Spider-Man games on other systems. But when I picked it up, I'm like, I mean, I still have it, but I'm like, the controls just didn't seem, no pun intended, fluid enough
Hmm.
for Spider-Man. So especially like coming off of, maybe not coming off of, but for me recently, especially my, because I didn't own this originally. This is something that
Hmm.
I played when I started doing the collection again. But like Spider-Man versus Venom, Maximum Carnage, probably
Hmm.
the best, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man game.
I love
On
that
the
game.
like 16-bit era and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I couldn't get through the clunkiness, and I know you kind of like choose your route, kind of sort of,
Yep.
with it, but I just couldn't get past it.
Ah. You know, it's funny. I didn't put Sega CD on my list because I was thinking in my head, I don't remember a bad Sega CD game that I owned. And then as you were talking, one slash two slash three of them came screaming
Oh,
back to me.
just flooding back.
Yeah, three of them, and they're all
Good.
they were all part of the same same genre,
I feel like I
and
know.
they were the make my video
Oh,
games.
CNC Music Factory and
CNC Music Factory,
Marky Mark.
Crisscross,
Oh, I forgot Crisscross had one.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch,
That one I remember.
and I think In Excess had one too.
I
I
didn't
think,
realize In Excess. I didn't realize
but
Crisscross.
I don't remember how I got them. Like, like personally, like I didn't have money to buy them, so I
Hmm.
don't know what it was. And I think maybe the Marky Mark one wound up in my home because of my sister. It's entirely possible.
Fair.
But
They hide your mother for me.
I remember I remember having the CNC Music Factory one,
Okay.
and it was just like, this isn't a game. You're just you're just editing a bunch of like public domain footage
Hmm.
into, an existing music video. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. And whatever they charged you to buy that, like even today, 30 something years later, they should refund everybody who bought those games. It was just it wasn't a game. It just was not a game. Period. The
Fair.
end. Awful garbage.
I got two more on my list, to be
Okay.
honest. This one I think we share a common interest in. Maybe not for the same system though. Mine's on the Nintendo 64,
Okay.
and it is a beloved cartoon that has celebrated 25 years of success. Talking about the first South Park game.
Actually, I did own it on the N64. I did not have it on the PlayStation, but they released it on both.
Oh, okay. I thought you had it on PlayStation.
Nope, I had it on
Oh, okay.
N64.
All right. Then we both had it on both same thing.
We both had it on the same system, and it was trash the same way.
And again,
Just like kind of similar to, unfortunately, not hearing good things about South Park Snow Day,
yeah, that's what a lot of
which just
people are
came out.
saying.
Yeah.
Don't listen to IGN. But
No,
other
I
people you
don't.
can. Other people you can.
I go beyond IGN when I look at
Okay.
reviews,
Oh my
Larry.
God, IGN is terrible. But in any event,
I have IGN on my phone.
and it's not. Look, we should have said this in the beginning, but I feel like it's not. We're not talking the graphics. Look, the graphics were what they were back then. We
No.
can accept that. We put ourselves in that time frame. The graphics are what they are. Just
Yeah.
the gameplay wasn't that good, and I mean that's fine with the snow and with the and all the chickens and
Turkeys.
turkeys, chickens, same thing.
Yeah.
Very very odd, very weird, and just the gameplay. Chef's
Well,
Love Shack to me had better gameplay than this game. I
not
know,
not
not going
not
for it.
much.
Yes.
No, but just here's the whole idea. Like South Park was revolutionary because it was like this really weird, like I don't want to say cheap, but it was a really weird looking animation, like a flat type of animation, and it
Oh
just
no, it was meant
worked.
to be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then to turn it just essentially into a first person shooter made no sense.
It was a little weird.
Yeah, it
A
just
little
made no
weird, yeah.
sense. In fact, I think I bought the game last year, just to add it back into my collection for posterity. I remember
Okay.
how terrible it was. I just wanted it for my
Yeah,
collection because it was something I used to own.
gotcha.
Will I ever play it? I'll probably throw it in one day just to like get a laugh out of how terrible it is. Or like well, it's on my Polymega now. So but yeah, no. No, just badness.
Fair enough.
Absolute badness. All right. I only have like since we shared that one, I only have two other ones on my list.
All right.
I'll jump to the Dreamcast.
I tried looking at my Dreamcast collection. I got to admit,
Yeah.
I enjoyed all my Dreamcast games.
I enjoyed all of them but one.
Okay.
And that's the one I'm going to bring up.
Yeah, hopefully.
And again, it's it's of the wrestling genre. But yeah, it was ECW Anarchy Rules.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Okay, and the reason why was because ECW decided to pick up the I forgot the name of the company that did the Warzone and
yeah, I know you're talking about. I know
so
of I can't remember.
Yeah, so the first company that did like WWF Warzone, WWF Attitude, and then moved on to like Nitro, Thunder.
Oh, it was Acclaim.
Acclaim.
Yeah, well,
So,
Acclaim
yeah,
did
so-
Anarchy Rules. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was someone
so
else. I don't know why.
yeah, so Acclaim did Anarchy Rules, and the problem with these games, were that just the controls were so terrible. Like they treated it like it was a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter where you had to put in a combination in order to do a move. So
Mhm.
if you didn't know the combination for that specific wrestler, you were
Yeah.
basically just punching and kicking your way through a match. And just
Very true.
by the time you had gotten to the Dreamcast, by the time ECW Anarchy Rules came out, you already had great games like WCW NWO Revenge, World Tour, and then obviously No Mercy at WrestleMania 2000. So playing Anarchy Rules, it was just awful. It was awful to go back to. I got to go look up all of these moves for each specific character if I want to play as them, and there's just no fun there.
I get it. And it's weird
Yeah.
because that was the sequel to Hardcore Revolution.
Right.
You would
right.
think it would have been better, but oh well.
Nope.
All right. So my last game just encompasses every iteration of this game.
Okay.
I can easily say this game I'm gonna mention is my number one despised game, even worse than Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Which are not despised.
And I know people who love this game. And
Do I love this game?
I honestly don't know, to be honest with you.
Ooh,
I don't know. We're about to
interesting.
find
Okay.
out, but I know other people.
All right. All right.
Pit Fighter.
Oh no. No.
I hate this arcade game.
I was never a fan of that game.
I hate the Super Nintendo game. I hate the Genesis game and every other version that ever came out. Look, I get what they were going for. The whole digitized actual people like Mortal Kombat, that's fine. There is some interesting what's what I'm looking for? Graphical something or other. Like the characters will actually get smaller or larger as you go to or from the screen.
Yes.
So things like that, interesting.
Yeah.
But just the gameplay itself, I hate it.
Mm.
I just loathe this game.
Okay.
So every version that's ever out there, I wish were just deleted from existence.
Oh, I remember playing it in the arcade. And maybe I rented it at some point, but I definitely, there was nothing to that game that made me want to play it anymore. Like, because at that point, like, again, playing that game just made me think of how much better Mortal Kombat was.
No, 100%.
And then I would just go back and play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So again, it was just one of those like, cheap attempts to capitalize on Mortal Kombat that just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I can understand that being on your list, and I'm happy to agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
And the last one, this is the last one I have on my list, and I'll go quickly on this one because I bought this later on just for, I knew how terrible it was. I just bought it for the hell of it. But it was on the Nintendo GameCube, and it was the Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure.
Yes, I've seen this. I've never played it, but I've definitely seen it.
So I have played it, and I can say that it definitely belongs on the list of like one of the worst games ever made, period, especially for a system like the GameCube.
Yeah.
So, and the concept behind the game is you have to earn tickets to go on rides at Universal Studios. You do that by walking through the park and picking up trash. And as you pick up the trash, you eventually earn a ticket to go on a ride. Now, I don't know who thought that would be a fun idea. I didn't even like picking up at like having my janitors pick up trash and vomit in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes.
And they automatically did that. I was like, but me as the character in the game, just picking up trash made no sense to me. And then on top of that, Universal Studios, the park itself doesn't work on a ticket system in real life.
Oh, well,
you just pay to
the
go
whole
in and
thing
go
out.
on rides, right? So like literally there was no like real concept to this game that worked at all.
Oh, well.
So by far and away, that game just useless waste.
Oh, well, fair enough.
I wonder if I still own it. It's one of those things where it's like, did I put it in my collection again? As like
Look,
one of those things where it's like, I hate it.
Everyone's got to own the movie Honey or Glitter or Geely. Just have to have the worst movies ever made.
If
So.
your name is Larry, yes. No,
I own one of those 3 movies.
I do not own Universal Studios anymore. I probably just, that might have been a game I just threw out. Like literally. There are very few games I ever threw in the trash. That might have been one of them.
Kind of like where my Retro Freak is.
Well, that was uncalled for.
So with that, I think we had a very healthy list of games that
a very healthy list of unhealthy games.
Yeah, basically. And folks, I'm sure you have some games out there that you wish just never saw the light of day, never existed. Hit us up on social media. Let us know. And where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram @RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter @RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify at Retro Gamers Podcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
All right. With that, we're going to get into this week's Game of the Week.
Yes, Game of the Week, Larry. And it was my pick.
Oh, and what a pick, too. An amazing pick.
Yes. So I went against the grain. I picked a fan-made game.
Yeah.
Which was which, you know, I thought,
Free
and
to
again, yep, free to download, fan-made game. And again, in honor of WrestleMania week, I chose WWF Legends Challenge 64.
Great looking game. Game looks fantastic. The game looks like it plays fantastic. And the game looks like it sounds fantastic.
Well, yes, because one of us doesn't have a PC and couldn't play it.
No, but and that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
But the good thing about it is, though, you can still comment on it because it's based off of the WWF No Mercy game engine. Yes. So it plays just like No Mercy, except the characters are all some of your favorite wrestlers from the 80s and early 90s. Mostly WWF. I think maybe actually I think they're all WWF.
I think they're all WWF.
Yeah, it hasn't moved on. Yeah, it was WWF then.
I don't know who that is.
So Larry, I know you couldn't play the game because of your silly Mac.
I tried. Yes, I have a MacBook, and I'm trust me, user error. I'm sure it was probably user error. I just couldn't find a proper N64 emulator to try it with. I really did want to try and play this game, but again, that's okay. Look, these games of the week, sometimes we're all not capable of playing them, even one of us.
But based off of, because I know you did the research and you looked at the website and the viewing and stuff, what were your thoughts?
I think this is such an amazing love letter to No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. A love letter that we're actually seeing more and more with other games that are being published. Like you said, AEW's Fight Forever has that feel of those games.
Oh, absolutely does.
There's a game that I backed on Kickstarter that's going to be coming out next year, Ultra Pro Wrestling, UPW, that I mentioned last week is actually getting a lot of legends. They just announced since last week that game's getting the Killer Bees and Magnum TA.
Ooh, very
cool. So, and that almost looks exactly like the No Mercy game. So yeah, so with this, really the first one to hit the shelves, quote unquote, even though it's free. WWF Legends Challenge 64. As much as I want to play it, I love the characters. I love the way the characters look, because even though this is made now, they're still polygony. They're still, they're not smooth, as they should not be in a game like this. So it really looks like you're playing an N64 game from the 90s. And the lineup of characters in the game, besides your Hogans, your Savages, your Warriors, and if I remember correctly, I believe they have different like costumes and everything.
Yep, they do.
I mean, I'm not going to name all the lineups, but just some of the lineup: Mr. Perfect, Old School Undertaker, Junkyard Dog, Big John Studd. I'm trying to think of guys who you don't normally see in games like this.
Paul Orndorff,
Paul Orndorff, Haku, the
Bad News
Genius,
Brown,
Outlaw Ron Bass. What? It's
yep,
like basically the 1989 Rumble, and
yes, kind
and
of, sort of.
and it's managers: Fuji, Slick, Sensational Sherry, Brother Love, Tim Chi,
Yeah.
for crying out loud. So the
Well,
lineup,
Kamala's in the game. That's why.
yes, of course. So the lineup is amazing, and the look of it is just very nostalgic. In fact, I did see. You showed me. I think you had showed me a little bit of your gameplay that we're going to show on Thursday. Even the character selection, if I'm not mistaken, looked like the Rumble, right? The
Yeah,
'89
it
Rumble
actually, yeah, they
or
actually
'90
put.
Rumble, maybe.
No, it was the
Oh,
'89
both.
Rumble. It was the '89. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
'89 Rumble that they had. They had the look
Hmm.
for it when you're selecting the characters,
Hmm.
which is really cool. And then obviously when you go to the ring also was set up like
Yep.
the '89
Yep.
Rumble. So it's just really, really cool. And then just to add to it, like the other things in the game that are really fun, you can choose like exhibition, Royal Rumble, tag team matches. You can also do a King of the Ring style tournament.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
King of the Ring tournaments in there. What is also what I also liked about it is the arenas. They actually paid
The
attention to
arenas
the
look
arenas.
beautiful.
Yeah, so it's like Madison Square Garden, it's the Knickerbocker Arena,
Yes.
like yeah, just old, like some of the old school arenas that I think
Hmm.
I want to say the WrestleMania 3
I think so.
yeah,
Pontiac
Pontiac
Silverdome. Yep.
Silverdome's in there. So they again they paid very close attention to what era it was, and it's late, it's like mid to late '80s. That's where the real focus was on. Like
Hmm.
mid to late '80s is the focus. Um, and again, like the characters in there fit perfectly for that. I did for my gameplay this week. You'll see kind of a little bit of an altered, simulated 1989 Royal Rumble. Like I literally tried to mimic it as
Okay.
best I could. They didn't have
Yeah.
all they didn't have all the
Fair.
characters. Why Tito Santana's not in the game yet, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a little. Well,
But and the cool thing about this is because it's free to play and it's online, they release updates with new characters. So there'll be more characters getting added, which is awesome because it'll just add to the
yeah.
roster.
I think they're working on who are they working on. You can actually follow them on X
Mm-hmm.
at WWF Legends 64.
Yep.
I believe they're working on Tugboat Typhoon,
Yep.
different gear for Tugboat and
Yeah,
Typhoon.
because
Uh,
Earthquake's already in the game,
yep.
I think, right?
And
Yes.
oh, Earthquake. Yeah, Earthquake's definitely in the game. So you can get the natural disasters.
Yep.
I think they did a poll maybe on who's going to be next. And it looks like the poll, I don't know if any of these are going to be in the game, but they were, Papa Shango, the narcissist, Lex Luger, George Steele, and adorable Adrian Adonis.
I would go with George Steele or Adrian Adonis to fit the era.
Oh,
Because I
totally.
was gonna say one outliers in the game that I thought was strange, out of all the things in there, was that Razor Ramon's in the game. And the only reason why I say it's an outlier because I feel like 90
Well,
late 92,
outside.
93
Hmm.
it felt a little outside all the other characters in the game.
That's fair. Actually, the
Um,
list was larger. There was the poll was larger. Here, I'll just throw it out real quick.
oh, they narrowed it down.
No, no, it was a little, yeah. So it was Adrian Adonis, King Harley Race,
Ooh, that would have been nice.
Terry Funk, George
Mhm.
Steele, Papa Shango, Doink.
No.
Here, to your point, the 1, 2, 3 kid,
Yeah, a little bit too late.
and Luger, and the narcissist Lex Luger, and the four that I mentioned at first were the
Got
top
it.
four of this list. Doink got 2% of the vote.
Wow.
Poor Doink.
Yeah, but see, I would love again as it gets updated. I would love to
Yes,
see this get filled in if he keeps going, which I hope he does.
totally.
Like Big Boss Man's in the game. I would love to see Akeem get added. So you have the Twin Towers.
Yes.
Rick Martel's already in there. Throw
Hmm.
Tito Santana in for Strike Force. Like I
Totally.
think like that type of stuff. Hercules is in there. Maybe you want to throw Paul Roma in for Power
All
and
right,
Glory.
let's not push things now. Okay, let's
Yeah,
we
Paul
gotta be
Roma's a
careful.
little,
Yeah,
but
I mean, an amazing finisher, but the tag team was a little rough to talk
yeah,
about.
it was rough, but I'm just trying to think of like what else you can
No,
throw in
I
here.
hear you.
Like
I hear you.
Demolition's already in there, Power as a Painter in there, which is
Hmm.
great. The Heenan family is well
Yep,
represented,
yep.
which is cool. So I just think overall, like they took great care with the detail to this game. And for wrestling fans like us that go back to the 80s, like this is the game I've always wanted to get released. Like when Legends of Wrestling came out on Xbox, I think it was, and PS2 and whatever.
Yeah.
I bought all of those games. The
Me too.
gameplay itself was rough, but just to have all of the old school 80s wrestlers in one game was awesome to me. And even with like current wrestling games, like the WWE games, like normally what I wind up doing is I wind up creating like a universe mode, and then I just go and download character creations of all 80s ones, and then I just play them.
Very true.
Now they put in a bunch of like old school wrestlers in the game, but like that's what I like. Then like because I love playing video games, but I love the nostalgia of it more. So so this is right up my alley. Absolutely perfect. Mr. Perfect. But yeah, so
64.
Yeah, so for me, like, just for the nostalgia alone, I give this like 5 out of 5 WrestleManias.
100%. And like I said,
or do I say 40 out of 40? I'll say 5 out of 5 WrestleManias because WrestleMania 5 was 1989.
It was, and everyone's already complaining because the WrestleMania 40 stage, I think they're reusing the WrestleMania 31 lettering.
Oh,
from the staging. I don't know. People,
yeah.
That's what the internet is for. No, this game.
WrestleMania 31. I was there.
You were, and I was not, but I had an epic party.
Yes, the one year you didn't go.
Yeah, I know. It would have been epic.
No, I would have made it epic for you.
I know. Yeah. That's okay. You still did though. You still did. In any event,
that is true.
So great game. And again, this is like the first of we're getting more of these type of games officially as well. And that's not a knock on this. Like I said, the only other one that's going to rival this is going to be next year's Ultra Pro Wrestling. We'll talk about that more when we get closer to that. But nevertheless, very cool. Hopefully they will get something going with Mac, or I can get my Mac to work probably. I'll probably have to call up Jack, see what he can do with this.
I'm sure Jack can figure it out for you.
And this is a game that, this is not it. The owner of this game does not promote this, so this is just me saying it. But this would be cool if somehow this could be put on a cart.
That would be cool. I would be all for that.
Amazing. So
yes,
but we'll see what happens. All right. So excellent game. Hopefully some people out there got to play it. Those with proper computers, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
So with my choice here, and I'm going to stick with the genre with wrestling, because yes, we are going into, a week, this Sunday when this drops is Saturday and Sunday is WrestleMania, my favorite time of the year. And cheap plug, I will be doing a live watch along of WrestleMania Night 1 at least on my YouTube page at More365, MOHR365. So definitely please tune in 7 p.m. Eastern. And watch along. You watch. I'm not broadcasting WrestleMania. I'm just going to watch along with you, and hopefully my feed is delayed a little bit, so I don't give anything away for you folks if you do watch it on Peacock. But nevertheless, please tune in again at More365 on YouTube for me. And I'm going to play a game that I loved. I'm going to play a game that I think everyone loves, and it is available on the Nintendo Switch online through the NES. I'm talking old school pro wrestling.
Old school NES pro wrestling.
Yep, NES pro wrestling.
All right, Starman.
Oh, and I've seen Starman live.
I know you have.
It was sad, but but nevertheless, play pro wrestling. Let's all have fun with it. With WrestleMania going on, throw the ones up. That's right. Let's go one more year. Let's do it. Another 365 days.
All right, sounds like a plan.
All right, let's get into it. News.
All right, we got some retro news. I'm going to fly through these as quickly as I can. Well, I feel like we always go long these days. And it's your birthday. I want you to go enjoy your birthday.
Yes, I will enjoy my birthday no matter what. I'm enjoying it now with my best friend.
Who?
Sammy. He was just over here before.
I was just going to say. All right. I'm just an employee.
If only.
Yeah. All right. So first thing to throw out there is a classic PS1 Star Wars title coming to the PlayStation 4 and 5 this April on PlayStation Plus.
Okay.
So if you have PlayStation Plus and you are a Star Wars fan, Star Wars Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire
Really?
will be coming to the PS5,
Ooh.
PS4. This game was originally released on PC way back in 1995,
I think
and
I
then
still have the original
then
on
ported,
PS1.
yeah, and then ported to the PS1 after that.
You said Rebel Assault 2.
Rebel Assault 2.
Yeah, I still got it.
Yeah,
All
Rebel
right,
Assault
cool.
2. Well, you're going to be able to play it on your PlayStation Plus starting April 16th
Couple weeks.
of
All
this
right.
year. Yeah, a couple weeks away. So, a lot of Star Wars games out there. So,
Excellent. Oh God. Yeah.
here's a fun one.
Mhm.
Again, I'm bouncing around the news. I didn't
Whatever.
segment them.
We wouldn't have known that unless you said it.
That's very true, but I just did. So people love modding stuff, right? So I
Oh
thought
yeah.
this was a fun little mod to throw out there. So this modder, whose name is James Channel,
Okay.
and what he did this time is something that I just find it really fun. He decided to take an NES cartridge, like an actual NES game cartridge.
Okay.
He modded it into an NES console.
What?
So you can play NES games in an NES cartridge.
That's what. That's wild.
So, yeah. So the actual, like literally on the top of the NES, like he has the NES cartridge. There's a slot. There's an open slot.
Oh, so you
on
can put actual games in
You
there.
put actual NES games into the NES game. It's like NES Inception. And I didn't come up with that. It was in the article on Time Extension.
Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, and then on the sides, you plug in your controllers.
That's wild.
And then on the top, it has the output to your TV.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an NES cartridge playing NES cartridges.
Meta.
Yeah, very meta. So again, the modder's name is James Channel. Created an NES cartridge that plays NES games.
All right. Well, we'll check that out.
We mentioned Mortal Kombat earlier. When we were talking about Pit Fighter. This is just something it extends a little bit outside of video games, but it's worth mentioning that former Senator Joe Lieberman, Democratic Senator Joe Lieberman, passed away yesterday, I think.
Oh, did he?
Saturday, Friday or Saturday? Friday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, at the age of 82. Why do I bring that up on a video game podcast?
Yeah, what?
He was the man.
He was.
Who tried to ban Mortal Kombat.
Not only Mortal Kombat, a lot Nights
and a lot of other
Trap,
games.
a lot of them.
Yeah, it started with Mortal Kombat and Night Trap, but he was the one who tried banning video games.
That's wild.
So yeah, so a little nugget of
still rest in peace. We may not have been a fan of his from the gaming aspect, not getting into politics.
From the gaming from the gaming aspect. Yep. He helped our games get rated.
That is true.
Or rated, I should say. Rated is the word. Moving on to next stuff. So we've got Evercade.
Ooh, my favorite. Yeah,
your favorite. They released a roadmap.
I
this week.
Seeing this, yes.
They released a roadmap pointing out when there are going to be new releases, and it looks like you're going to get 2 in July. 2 in September, 2 in November, 2 in December. However, July and November, they announced new hardware.
Oh, I missed that part.
They didn't say what hardware. They're just saying new hardware.
New hardware. What could it be? I mean, the newest thing they had was the new updated handheld.
Yeah. So 12 new cartridges in total this year.
Oh, I'm still trying to get my hands on Sunsoft Collection 2. Trying to pre-order that, but stupid Amazon.
Yeah, that comes out in April. So when this episode drops.
Yeah.
Sometime this month. So there's more coming for the Evercade. That thing's getting lots of support.
I'm telling you, man, it is phenomenal.
Here's something that you may actually be interested in purchasing. Numbskull, known for creating their quarter arcades.
Oh, yes.
Recently announced that they are releasing 2 more quarter arcades.
Oh, okay.
One is Zookeeper, and when I say quarter arcades, I mean quarter size.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they're designed on a quarter. That's how they are.
Yes, yes, that's how small they are. So Zookeeper. No, I was just trying to.
No, I know.
Elaborate. Zookeeper is one.
Oh my God, I love Zookeeper.
Oh, I didn't even think you would love that one. It's the other one I thought you would be interested in. The other one is Elevator Action.
Really?
Yep.
Oh man.
So they're joining the quarter arcades. Pre-orders are going in very soon. Actually, pre-orders started March 27th. So
Oh my gosh.
pre-orders are up. Delivery estimated for October. You can buy both of them for $219.99,
$250.
$249.99
Yeah.
US. Yeah,
That's not
250 US.
bad
So
at
there you
all.
go. So
Oh my,
if
look at this. Yeah.
yeah, I figured you would want the elevator
Oh no,
action one.
elevator
I know
action
you. I know.
100%. But
Yeah.
Zookeeper, I'm gonna be honest, Zookeeper was never released on a home console,
Oh, see.
except in like one compilation, like a title compilation
Yep.
on Xbox or Xbox 360. I think on the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only recently fell in love with this when going to the arcades, like the Game On retro arcades.
Yep.
And I've played it in the past, but I've completely like this almost might be like my number two arcade game or number three,
Oh,
actually.
wow.
You talk about, well, I mean, Elevated Action I enjoyed more on the home consoles, but oh my God, I'm so excited about this. So thank you very much for pointing this out.
Yeah. No, well, just so you know, I just went to the website really quickly.
Yeah.
They're offering an early bird price of $229.99, $230,
What are you doing to me, pal?
$20 off.
Okay.
Pre-order now. You know how these things disappear.
You're right.
So there you go. All right, moving on. There goes $500 out of Larry's pocket.
Shush.
I'll save that for later. And here's the next bit of news. We talked about this recently. Remember when I said that Atari was releasing new arcade cabinets based on their
Yes.
Recharge series?
Yep.
All right. Well, the announcement is out. They have gone live. You can now pre-order your Atari Asteroids Recharged cabinet. They have two versions. They have a 2-player version and a 3-player version arcade. And this is a full arcade cabinet from Atari, not like a smaller arcade. It's a full arcade cabinet. You can pre-order it by putting $1,000 down because the 2-player cabinet is $6,500.
Makes sense.
And the 3-player cabinet is $13,000.
Holy cow.
Yep. Well, I mean, these are meant to be in arcades.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
it's like when like VHS tapes used to be like $100.
Oh my gosh. I remember working at the video store and like I would always ask why we would get like 2 copies of a movie like when it would come out, and it was because of how popular, but I also had no idea. Like I remember the pricing book, and some of those VHS tapes were like $300-$400.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, because they figured you'll rent it enough that it'll make its money back.
Oh, of course.
And then you make a profit eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. The last 3 bits of news. Actually, the last 2 bits of news I'm going to share are for your benefit because it's your birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
But this one other one I thought would be fun to bring up. Star Fox 64, which we recently played as a game of the week not too long ago. I did not know this, and I'm curious to see if you did. Did you know in Star Fox 64 there was a hidden on foot mode where you got out of the X-Wing as the characters?
No, I had no idea.
I had no idea. Apparently, it's always been in the game. It's an unlockable in the original game.
Really?
When you collect all the medals on every mission and then collect all the medals on every mission again in expert mode.
Oh, gee, no wonder why I've never seen it.
Right. That's the thing. It unlocks an on foot mode where all 4 characters.
Really?
It's like 3D. It's like Super Mario 64 where you're actually behind the character.
Yeah.
And they're walking around. So I had no idea this existed.
That's wild.
I thought it was wild, but now I also see it as a challenge of like, oh, I want to go perfect Star Fox 64 because I want to play as the characters on the ground and see how that works.
No, of course, right? That's
Yeah.
insane.
So talk about like something, just never.
Well, seeing how I'll never accomplish it personally,
just look for video.
Yeah, exactly.
Just look for video. I will try and find it.
Okay.
Or try and find my way to do it.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be really awesome.
Totally.
Yeah, I had no idea. It even appeared in the Star Fox Nintendo Power official strategy guide.
Did it really? Yep. Wow. I totally missed this.
It was also in EGM 2 issue 37.
Okay.
So, and there've been YouTube videos up on it for a long time. I just had no idea.
Neither have I. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a fun little thing. Okay. Last two things for you. Analog Pocket's getting some more Sega arcade titles for you to play.
I have to update.
So, yep. You're going to be able to play these two arcade standards, Wonder Boy and Wonder Boy in Monsterland.
Oh, all right, cool.
Coming to your Analog Pocket. So fun for you there.
Very good.
And then last but not least, you're definitely going to want to pre-order this on Amazon.
Dang it. Come on, man.
So look, I don't want you to spend money. I know, but I finally found a book you're going to read.
A book?
I found a book you're going to read. This new book is called Seeing Red, and it's all about Nintendo's Virtual Boy. It's called Seeing Red, Nintendo's Virtual Boy. It's going to be released on May 14th. Hardcover book.
Okay. Oh,
May
yeah, look
14th,
at this. Oh, my
hardcover
God.
book.
Look at this. This looks phenomenal.
Yep, you can go pre-order it on Amazon right now. You're welcome. And that completes Retro News.
All right. And with that, this Zookeeper, oh my God, I probably will be pre-ordering this shortly. Okay. It's like, again, the only version.
Right. It's the only way you can own the game.
I mean, I have it somewhere else, but
yeah. And then after you buy it, they'll release it on like Virtual Console somewhere.
Please don't even get me started. In any event, all right, one more time, Ant, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram @RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter @RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify @RetroGamersPodcast, and you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
You can hear it. The part is in there. So Anthony didn't just give me a shell of a box.
No. I did not give you an empty box. And if I did give you an empty box, it's the guy who sold it to me who gave me the empty box. And I don't know. Because I wasn't going to open it. It was sealed.
No, fair enough. Totally. All right. And thank you again very much. This is actually
welcome. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And Ant, have a wonderful week.
You have a great week as well. Happy WrestleMania week.
Yes, I won't be around next week, so enjoy.
I will find a fill-in.
But you can still do the game of the week. I will allow you to still review game of the week.
No, I will wait for you to come back.
All right. And with that, folks, enjoy WrestleMania, but enjoy video games as well. And we'll catch you everywhere next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.